Hi, I thought I would take a few minutes to share with you about experiences. And by that, I mean that I've had in my life a wide variety of unusual experiences in the body, out of the body, some of them spontaneously, other times with diligence and effort and focus or meditation. And so I've had dozens and dozens of experiences where I've gotten to see things or hear things or experience things that are, well, quite different. So even the iris came in a very unusual experience, and the birth order and the cycles and seasons and many others. And the result of that is I got very interested in the mechanics of how this works. So I tried many different things. I tried what would be called dreaming out of the body. I tried projecting myself. I tried all kinds of things. And over the years, an understanding of some of the experiences became clearer. And they were useful at times to learn a specific thing. Oftentimes, I would have a strong desire to want to learn about a specific place in the iris, and I would learn how to focus on that spot, keep asking for the truth about that position, and sure enough, within a day or two or three, sometimes a week, somebody would come with that position and tell me the story. And then another one would come and another one would, well, that's how I've learned many things. There are times I've made comparison to other people who have experiences, and they have experiences. I've had different ones, and sometimes they match and sometimes they don't. But my suggestion to you is don't believe anything that's really not your actual experience. And I would suggest that you not believe somebody's experience until you can actually have your own experience about that topic. You may have a, quote, open mind. You might have a sense of humility. You might have a curiosity. You might examine your feelings. Does that feel possible? Is that logical? Is there some way I can test this myself and to be able to see if what he's saying actually is true? For example, anybody that's done the iris 100 times or more will know that a brown spot jewel is a brown spot jewel, and a jewel in one country is the same as a jewel anywhere, and those darn jewels are downright irritating. And a jewel is a jewel, and a flower is a flower, and a stream and it's a shaker. And you realize that anybody in the world with any bare amount of diligence can have an experience that the iris works. Jewels and flowers, opposite, you find relationships, you can confirm it. Thousands of people have confirmed that the iris works. The same thing's true of birth order. Number one girl, I can guarantee you, is a number one girl anywhere in the world, and they're equally, at times, irritating and controlling anywhere in the world, but modified by, for example, Sweden, they're more controlling, but number one girls in Japan are less controlling. Very different in Australia or Brazil or Costa Rica, but number one girl, no matter where you are in the world. Other people can confirm by their experience. They may not have had the experience about how I had a download of birth order, that I had an experience that taught me about that. I just shared the information to be confirmed. So my suggestion is do what I call just being a good listener, keep an open mind, consider all the variables, is it testable, and so on. In doing that, there is a thing I do myself with other people. It's very easy to be, quote, humble to somebody who has an idea that is yours, an idea that you agree with. Ah, yes, there is a humility. Ah, yes, I'm humble because you're right, because I know you're right, right? I have the same belief system, so if we're both right, we must be right, which is not always true, by the way. Now, but what if you have somebody who has an idea, you don't agree with that idea? In fact, your belief system has a different belief system that says no. This is really where humility actually takes place. The willingness to hear the person through without neurological chatter, without mental interruption, to consider open-mindedly, what if the person is right? What would be the implications of this other belief system, which is very opposed to my belief system? What if it's actually right? Like one might be, I might believe that there's God. You might be talking to somebody who says there is a God and she's got beautiful blue hair. And what if they're right? What does that do to my belief system? Is there some way I can test it? Does it feel right? And so on and so on. So I'm going to be making a list of some of my most unusual experiences in wide ranging categories. I'm going to put them in a whole series of files. I'm going to put them in the archives, and you can go and peruse what my experiences have been that brought me to this place of why I want to process a single droplet of water feeling, why I want to feel that with some degree of sincerity, and then drop that water into a Fibonacci spiral called time, and then measure that time by the hour of the day and the week of the month according to the phase of the moon and the month of the season and the season of the year and the sequence of years. That's the things I like to do. So I invite you to examine things and work on them and see. And then if you start to have your own experiences, no matter what they are, it works for you, it doesn't work for you, it hurts, it makes you cry, report back. Meaning write it down, share it verbally, make a video if you want, give it to me privately, do it publicly. But there's a process of discovery that comes from the transparency to communicate it, bringing it into the air, or being authentic, or helping people experience something where other people going through the same thing. I did the protocol, for example, for a year by myself, alone, without sharing it. Not sure if anybody would get an experience. And then I invited a group of people. About 100 people started, maybe 10 or 15 of them actually completed a year. Some of them around 9 months. Well, they kind of fell off the wagon because 9 months, you find out 3 cycles of 3 months has a whole new effect like birth. It can be a little traumatic at times. And you could see that people had the same kinds of experiences in the same number of months. Now I'm excited to do the same thing with the equinox and the solstice, and then prepare the equinox and the solstice for the next equinox, and the equinox and the solstice, and the equinox and the solstice for the next equinox. And put them all together to create and experience something, to explore the dynamics and the mechanics of the intelligence of the natural law that surrounds us all. And in that, for me, it's a mirrored reflection of divine order and a confirmation of the existence of the divine by whatever theology you care to use today, because it's likely will change one day sooner or later. So my suggestion is be patient with yourself, be patient with me if you want to. And then if you want to ask questions about one of these experiences or you've had one like it, then let's have a chat or we can do an email thing. But I'm going to be asking you to consider that some of these experiences I've had are likely coming around again as a collective whole. For example, some of the ones I've had with the animal kingdom and some of the ones I've had on nature and on some other level of it is what I've done to be able to experience something. Now, because the world is going global and the world is also in the midst of something, to me, there is a whole new level of energy and a whole new dynamic that's opening gates for people to have more and more experiences. Some people are very much afraid of what comes next, and it makes them want to hide, go home, and do something else. Or you might be willing to put a little drop of water in your own heart, feel something, notice something, grow with it, and then have the strength and the courage to use it in your personal life. So that's my message for today, and I appreciate your long-term patience. Thank you.